What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking ball about the Cats today. It is a beautiful day to do such, and we're going to be talking specifically about football recruiting with 2025 five-star tight end Lincoln Cure officially on his visit to Manhattan. I'm going to talk about my thoughts about the potential connection between Avery Johnson and Lincoln Cure, as well as K-State's chances at landing Lincoln Cure in today's video. But before I do, let me remind you this. If you like K-State athletics, this channel might be worth sticking around. Be sure and consider hitting that subscribe button because it does help me out immensely, and I'm trying to post videos just about every other day talking ball about the Cats to try to get us through this offseason together as football season comes around. But guys, let's start here. Now, if you haven't heard the name Lincoln Cure, I don't know where to start. The dude is a top tight end in the class of 2025. He's technically the second ranked, I believe, on 247 Sports, not sure about on 3. He is the 26th ranked player in his class, as well as the second ranked tight end in his class, and the second player in the state of Kansas, second ranked player in the state of Kansas, excuse me. Lincoln Cure's taken 4 official visits and is focusing on 4 schools. K-State being the last team to get a visit here. We've got KU off the rip, that was a couple weeks ago. Then he goes to Texas A&M. Then he went to Oregon, and now he's at K-State. Cure got to Manhattan Friday night, from what I understand. He posted a picture on his social media of the Aggieville Rally House showing off the big sign that says "Welcome Home, Lincoln." First of all, shout out to all the businesses in Manhattan. Shout out to everyone supporting and helping both basketball and football recruit. That is such a cool thing to do, even though it's probably small in the grand scheme of things. To the players, you get there and you're a hometown hero. That's such a cool thing to see as you're driving down the road and you see "Welcome Home, Lincoln." Specifically with this recruiting process, I'm going to tell you where I stand on it, as well as kind of give you my overall opinions on what this would do for the future of K-State recruiting if we're able to pull this off, which, guys, I've had a little bit of a good luck streak in K-State basketball recruiting with the last couple of portal guys. However, I'm also taking credit for other people's work. I'm not necessarily saying that it's just me. Other people are putting reports out saying, hey, good for them. These people are picking up steam. Basically, everybody's a wildcat until they're not in my mind, so that's the best I can give you. I'm not a guru on that front. I'm just saying this guy seems like a cat, must be a cat. Then if they commit elsewhere, well, they weren't a cat. Next person's a cat. So that's the way it goes in the recruiting circle of this channel. But Lincoln Cure's a cat. I'll say it right now, man. That's our guy, dude. I know it's understandable to be nervous or to be, kind of antsy about the fact that, hey, I am looking at Oregon and I am looking at Texas A&M. I don't know that Kansas is as much as a threat, especially in the recruiting trail like K-State is. But they do have his older brother. He walked on at KU, Leighton Cure. Got there the same date, I believe. His move-in date was the same date as Lincoln's official visit to Lawrence. But obviously, when there's big dogs like Texas A&M and Oregon, you're a little bit nervous. But that being said, I'm not so nervous, man. I feel good about this recruitment. And I think the best way to describe it is what Chris Klieman said at that first press conference after landing Avery Johnson. I forget who asked the question, and I apologize for not giving him credit on this one, but he basically asked at a press conference with Klieman, hey, what does it mean to land Avery Johnson over some big-name programs? And Coach Klieman basically said, isn't Kansas State a big-name program? The guy then says, well, now it is. If you haven't seen the clip, it's incredible. I'm sure it'll get shared a lot if Lincoln Cure commits, but he basically said, isn't K-State a big-name program? That's the question I ask you. Isn't K-State a big-name program? And absolutely is the correct answer. You see the success, the continued storied franchise that what Kansas State football has been. It's not just a thing to say one coach has been here for 5 years, they've done great. It's not simple to say that the whole history has been incredible, but it's also not been bad. Like, Bill Snyder forged a path that Chris Klieman took the torch from and is now running with it in his own way. It's a continuation of continued success, which not only is just saying at the college level, it's also getting guys to the NFL. I mean, you look at guys like Felix Anudike-Uzomah or Deuce Vaughn, or you look at guys like even Skylar Thompson, who I don't know had much of an NFL career lined up ahead of him. A year in Chris Klieman's system as well as some of the Bill Snyder high successes, but you see him develop guys in the league consistently. Ben Sinnott, as a walk-on, is now a second-round pick by the Washington Commanders and is going to be a superstar. Specifically at the same position Lincoln Cure is at, in the tight end room with Brian LePack. I feel like that one bodes well for us. But the point of this video isn't to say K-State is better than Oregon, or K-State's better than Texas A&M, or K-State's better than Kansas, whatever the case is. The point is, I feel like this recruitment resembles a lot of what Avery Johnson's was. It's understandable to see it and say, okay, there's a lot of money going around, someone could outbid us. I don't even think this is a money thing, man. Lincoln Cure isn't that type of guy. He understands that, hey, when I make the right call and when I get to the league, money will come with continued success. That's the type of guy Lincoln Cure is, the type of guy Avery Johnson is, and you understand that these dudes are cut from the same cloth. That being said, you also see the dudes out there playing 18 at Colbert Hills. Like, if you're going out and you're playing 18 holes with another dude, might as well commit on the back 9, dude. That's where it is. We turn maybe 4 holes in. I know everything about you, and we're boys forever. Doesn't matter if you're 20 or you're 99 years old. if you go on the golf course, play 18 with somebody, odds are they're going to be your boy for life. That's just the way it seems to go in the golf world. But Avery Johnson, Lincoln Cure, I'm not sure if they're joined by Dylan Edwards or anybody else on that golf course, but that's something cool that happened today. Avery Johnson sharing a story on his Instagram. I want to say all this to say, K-State has done such a better job than basically anybody in the nation at developing Kansas talent to that next level. K-State has capsized every other program that's gotten the occasional Kansas program or Kansas kid to the league. Like, KU lives in that shadow of recruiting because they have to get around K-State in certain cases. Not saying they don't get a kid here and there, but K-State has shown, hey, there is elite talent in the Midwest. There's elite talent in the state of Kansas. We're going to bring that out, and we're going to put them together, and we're going to field championship rosters. Chris Klieman isn't just looking at Lincoln Cure as a kid that says, okay, this is a really good player. He's a really talented guy, and he'll help us have a great football team. Every single interview, every single thing that Chris Klieman said, it's not about having a good football team. It's about having a good program. This is a program-defining young man. This is a dude that's going to join the team. You know his personality is right for the room. You know the locker room's going to love him. He's cut from the same Dylan Edwards, Avery Johnson cloth where it's, hey, I'm staying home. I'm doing the right thing. Obviously, Dylan Edwards had his path, goes to Colorado. He's coming back to K-State, but there's something special about Kansas State. Lincoln Cure has it, Avery Johnson has it, and I believe Dylan Edwards has it as well. Kansas State has done such a great job of developing 3- and 4-star guys into that next level. Even guys like 2-star guys or walk-on guys, Ben Sennett, Felix Anudike-Uzama. And then obviously there's a ton in the Bill Snyder era that you can call on, but specifically recency bias with Chris Klieman. There's dudes that he develops to the NFL that go to college and say, you know what, I had 1 Power 5 offer. I had 2 Power 5 offers. Think about what happens when that ceiling continues to climb of where we're starting at. Lincoln Cure would be the first 5-star player to commit to Kansas State under Chris Klieman, and I think that would be such an incredible thing for the program because the kid offers stability, consistency, and a super high ceiling. I mean, this is the kid you're looking at like how Brock Bowers was this year, where he was the best tight end in football. That being said, the second best tight end in football was in Manhattan, Kansas, and it was Ben Sennett, a guy that arguably had a sizable, his impact to Kansas State was comparable to that of Brock Bowers for Georgia. But I say all that to say, Avery Johnson is a living example of what can happen when local talent stays home. The only thing you have, if you're not a guy that's entirely wrapped up in money, and Kansas State has money, I'm not going to sit here and say we don't, but when you're looking at a team like Georgia, they could give you a bag and it will probably sizably, one-up K-State. If you're looking at a team like Oregon, they're going to toss you some money, and there's going to be disparity here or there. Chris Klieman, Kansas State, all the guys, football is football. But the idea is always something, if you're not about money, if you're not about whatever the case is, because money will come, and also you're still going to be financially compensated really well wherever you go. But I presume that other programs trying to pull these kids away from K-State would say, you can't win a Heisman at Kansas State. You can't be the best player. You can't be a first-team All-American at Kansas State. You can't be XYZ thing at Kansas State. Look no further than Avery Johnson, folks. He has one career start as a quarterback. 2 career starts if you count him as a wide receiver in that one game. I forget if it was the TCU game or the Houston game, but he has 1 career start in a college football jersey. He is the 9th best odds to win the Heisman in the upcoming season. All the people saying, Avery, you can't win the Heisman at K-State, that's the quickest middle finger to the face, man. I mean, guys, I respect other people saying, well, look what we can do for you. Look what we can do for you. Kansas State is that place, man. And I'm not going to sit here and say I have some recruiting insight or anything like that, but at the end of the day, this kid's presented with an opportunity to be a hometown hero. Hey, I grew up a K-State fan. I grew up, loving the team. I understand the relationships he had with Colin Klein, but this is so much bigger than individual people. And that's why Lincoln Cure fits this example. There will be a Kansas State after Chris Klieman. There will be Kansas State after, Brian LePack, after Matt Wells, after Connor Riley, Joe Klanderman. There will be a program that continues. Lincoln Cure has the opportunity to be a cornerstone guy in that program. Chris Klieman doesn't just want him because of his football ability. He doesn't just want him to be a great player for 1 year, 2 years, go to the league. He understands, hey, I can help this kid get to the next level, be the person that he already is at a successful platform that you can set yourself up for the rest of your life with. That's everything. That's not some manufactured persona that Chris Klieman carries. He truly cares about these kids beyond anything that I've seen. So this video isn't really just a recruiting pitch or anything like that, but I know there's times to be nervous, there's times to be anxious, and Lincoln Cure's a good enough football player that you understand, hey, this kid's going to have options. But the beauty of what Kansas State has done, they've laid the ground path. They've laid the pavement. They've forged the path, I should say. I've got 8,000 different ways to say that. They have forged the path towards Lincoln Cure staying at Kansas State, being the best tight end in football, maybe being the best player in football during his career, going to the NFL in the first round, winning national awards, winning a national championship, winning whatever you want to win. Kansas State has shown they can do that. That's the beauty of all this. And Chris Klieman's the right guy to do that. Though I'm not 6'6", 220, super athletic, it'd be incredibly hard for me to turn that down. I couldn't walk away from that. Now, in terms of a when is this going to happen thing, because I don't know the situation. He could visit other schools. He could, do whatever he wants realistically. But it sounds like he's down to these 4 schools, and once he makes his mind up, he's there. I mean, he's talked about it. I don't want to jump in the portal. I don't want to do this. I want to make the right decision and go to the right place. There's still a ton of crystal balls favoring him to Kansas State. You've got Tom Loy, you've got Ryan Wallace, Mike Roach. You've got a bunch of different dudes through 247 and on 3 as well. But I would say this, I don't expect the kid to commit like Sunday night. So you're watching this video Sunday morning. I don't know that you'll see it at the end of the visit saying, hey, I'm committed to Kansas State. You might, because Lincoln's kind of a different dude. He goes in his own path how he wants to. If the sheeps go this way, he's going to go against the flock sometimes. And I think that's an admirable thing. So he could end up just saying, no nonsense. I'm not setting a commitment date. I'm not doing a big, live stream video on 247, whatever the case is. I'm just going to get about my work. So Lincoln Kure could do that, but I do guess that maybe we'll have an answer within the week. I think it'd be about a week, or maybe he'll tweet and say, hey, I'm announcing my commitment on, July 1st. That's when I'll decide where I'm going to college. Something like that, so he has a little bit of time to think it over. But I think it's a great sign that he got through all the other 3 recruitments uncommitted, because I think that's really where you would have expected something to happen. In this case, like, some people ponder the question of, is it better to be the first visit, the last visit? Doesn't matter. I'm a big believer of the better the high school prospect. So, like in Lincoln Kure's case, he's a 5-star kid. Obviously, there's variables to that. It's not a situation where it's just 3 stars are worse than a 5-star, whatever the case is. Everybody has untapped potential. But when you're guys that are under-recruited, usually I would feel like you want to be the first one. When you're a guy that's had massive amounts of recruitment and you've had a ton of people checking out your highlights, your ability, or whatever, meeting you, I think you want to be the last one in that, because you have the last chance to stick with a guy like that versus the guys that are unrecruited. If you wow them right off the rip, I feel like that's a better opportunity. So if it were up to me in the Lincoln Kure spot, I would choose to be the last visit and hope he gets to the other spots, and then we talk about what his future is at Kansas State. So I could be wrong. I thought Deuce Vaughn was coming back for another year, so I've definitely been wrong in the past. So don't quote me, and say this is perfectly going to happen. But I truly do believe Lincoln Kure will be wearing purple at Kansas State and will be a generational tight end that we all remember. He's the next one to accept that torch. I'm staying home because this sets, this is carrying the flag for the banner. This is carrying the banner for the state, showing what Kansas athletes can do when they stay in the right college. So that's my pick. I think Lincoln Kure truly has that ability to be the guy that says, hey, I'm staying home. I'm going to Kansas State. Let's do this thing. And then you have an offense that features Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards, DJ Giddens. Potentially he might go to the NFL, so we'll see what happens there. Then you get Lincoln Kure as your tight end. Think about the possibility to have an all-Kansas offense and how incredible that would be with some superstar kids on the national level out of the state of Kansas. So that's the beautiful thing I see and I envision. I could be wrong, folks, and I'll keep you updated if I hear anything more. But as it sits, I believe Lincoln Kure is leaving K-State today. It's Sunday as you're watching this. So we'll see what happens. If anything big breaks, we'll have another video talking about it. And if there's a big commitment and I miss it and I'm completely wrong and he does commit today, expect me to be popping a bottle of champagne, and we'll talk here soon. But guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Go Cats!